to fastidishchef.com. Today I'm going to make a wonderful cottage pie. Or maybe, no, maybe shepherd's pie? What is the difference between these two pies? What do they have in common? Well, let's start with what they have in common. It's always a layer of mashed potatoes, then it's a layer of meat sauce, and then top it off with mashed potatoes and some cheese before you put it in the oven. That is what they have in common. The difference, though, is that shepherd's pie always is made with either lamb or mutton, and cottage pie is usually made with ground beef. So that today I'm making cottage pie, really. And you know, from the beginning it was really to take care of the leftovers and to eke it out, you know, to make sure that stretch out the food and serve it as a new dish. So don't worry about all the long list of ingredients here. So if you're having spaghetti bolognese and you have some bolognese sauce leftovers, you can make it with that. The only thing what you have to think about is it shouldn't be too saucy, so it gets quite soggy then. So it has to be a little bit drier than that, but not too dry either, because you need the sauce for it to be delicious. And if you are many people, you can you know, put it in a larger mold in the oven, or if for the little household of 1 or 2 people, you can use the molds that look like this, and you can build up the layer of mashed potatoes, the sauce and the mashed potatoes on top. So, and then you lift it up afterwards. But you have to make sure to oil it in really very well, so it's not going to get stuck in there. And originally it was all about leftovers, so learn about the technique and take care of your leftovers and just put the seasoning that you like and you prefer. So let's get started and see how easy it is to really make this wonderful leftover dish. And it's so delicious that you will like to make it over and over again. And I really hope that you will like this recipe, so please do consider subscribing and don't forget to give your thumbs up. Well, here you can see what is needed, and you can always download that at my blog. This is what is needed for the meat, and don't worry if you don't have everything, so just take what you have at home. And also the seasoning with like garlic and so on, they are optional. And then cheese, which is a mixture of cheddar and mozzarella and some Parmigiano Reggiano. And of course, mashed potatoes that you prepare and set it aside and keep it warm until later. Heat a pan and put some ghee or a combination of butter and oil. And when it comes to 256 Fahrenheit, that is when you add the chopped onion and salt it lightly and stir it once in a while in order for the onion not to get burned. And keep frying for 3 minutes before you add the mushrooms. And you even salt the mushrooms lightly. And mix it all together and keep frying for additional 5 to 6 minutes or until caramelized. When it might take a little bit longer depending on the heat and so on. And that is when you add the carrots, the celery, and also the celeriac. And don't worry if you don't have it all, just take what you have at home. And then you add the chopped garlic. And when you feel the aroma from the garlic, that is when you take it off the heat and put everything in a bowl and set it aside. Use the same pan, add some ghee or butter and oil and the meat and fry it for 10 minutes. It has to be very dry, no liquid. And then you add the salt and pepper. It takes about 10 minutes. The thyme, the rosemary, and also the tomato puree, and mix it very well. Then add the crushed tomatoes and mix it well. Now add the bouillon cubes and also the wine. Mix it together and lower the heat and let it all simmer together for 5 to 10 minutes. Sift over 2-3 tablespoons of flour and mix it very well. And now you can add the vegetable mixture to the meat and mix it well, and also the frozen green peas. Now you have to taste it and correct the seasoning according to your liking. I needed to add some 2 teaspoons of garlic powder and also onion powder, and of course, true to my habits, some lemon juice. Now you can set it aside, oil a pan and put half of the mashed potatoes at the bottom, put the cheese on top, and then the meat sauce. Top it with the mashed potatoes, smooth out the surface, and put the rest of the cheese on top again. So it's really very, very simple. And there is one more option. I use the big mold, and you can use smaller ones, like 2 hollow um, molds, oil it in properly. Then you repeat the same procedure as with the big one, that you put the mashed potatoes at the bottom. You smooth out the surface or push it down a little bit with a spoon or something. Then you have the cheese on top before you put the meat sauce on top of that. I'm sorry about being in front of the camera with my hands, but and then you top it with mashed potatoes and top it with cheese. And then you put it at the same time in the oven. So it takes about 30 minutes for 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30-35 minutes, and or until it's really golden and nice color on top. So here you can see the big mold and the individual ones that I made, and it takes about the same time. It is so delicious, even if it's sometimes made with leftovers. As we say in Iran, Nusha Jan, or enjoy.